Good morning from Tucson, Arizona. This is the Yarn Closet. I am Laura. This is my mom, Kitty. She will be co-hosting today. We are at her house. You will notice the quilts behind us. Those are things she made. She was an avid quilter. We'll get to that. You can find me at YarnCloset AZ on Instagram and Ravelry, TheYarnCloset.com. Whatever. So we do monthly prizes of sock tubes, Braille stitch markers, Growly Bear Soap Company products. That's a company from Arizona. We also have the Patreon, the Yarn Closet on Patreon. And the more support on Patreon, that goes dollar for dollar into the prizes. And I'm so grateful. As I've said, I've got 4 Patreons right now, and Nikita, Deb, Erica, Sandra, thank you very much. I'm absolutely grateful and blown away. We have Scraptastic Podcast has talked about us on a few places, and all of a sudden I have almost doubled my subscribership to 145. So if you want to be a part of the drawings, you will subscribe on YouTube and comment, and that's where the drawings come from. Other than that, next week we'll have a pre-recorded podcast because I'm having surgery, and hopefully we'll be back on track the following week. So my mom has recently started knitting because she no longer quilts. So we are going to talk knitting today and see where she's at with that.
And the reason I don't quilt is because...
Oh yeah, that part.
Why?
I'm legally blind. She's legally blind. She has macular. She doesn't like to say she's legally blind.
I have both dry and wet macular.
Yeah.
We're both legally blind.
We don't need a peanut gallery.
So...
Hey, I can't miss out on all the fun.
We don't need a peanut gallery.
Okay. Hey, Yarn Closet.
The 11-year-old. Okay, so...
He could learn something from Jordan at Happiness.
Okay, so Laura was born 2 months prematurely, and...
We don't need to go into all of that.
No, and she was legally blind in one eye by the time she was 8 years old.
Always. I
Yeah.
was always legally blind in that
Yeah.
eye.
Well, diagnosed actually
Yeah.
at that point. But, so she has tried to...
But I don't think my mom knows, because she would then send me to school with my good eye patched, thinking I could see enough,
I didn't know.
and I couldn't.
I didn't
So
know.
she would switch the patches.
Well, that's what we were told to do.
It
So
said specifically in the letter not to do that.
I didn't have that letter.
I got it from you in
No, you
a
got it.
folder from you. No, it was hardly illegible. I still have it. It's in the orange folder you gave me of all my medical stuff.
Okay. So where are we at?
So, 2019 is the year of the sweater. 2019 is also the year of every month I'm going to do a sock from a sock tube. But one of the things that's come up this month on a lot of podcasts is repairing your clothing, how to modify your clothing. I mean, we all make a lot of our clothing, so how can we make it so we actually use it? So in that vein, I have not finished a pair of socks for April yet. I mean, I might. I've got a couple tubes started. I might. But I have... Red and purple are my favorite colors. So I have a couple of tubes that I have repaired. I've repaired some holes. Now, yeah. I don't know how that's going to feel. I don't know if I like it. Finding information on how to repair these online is not as easy as you'd think. So I've actually repaired two sets of socks.
So you make the tube, then somehow you you open it
So,
up because it's straight, and then
The
you
tube
open
is
it.
straight, and then you fold it over and you sew it together to make a folded cuff, because I actually like those. And then you weave your needles in on the end, and you make your stitches around and around, and each row you decrease to shape the toe, okay? Then you measure back on the tube. So it's a flat tube. You measure back, like if your foot measures from toe to heel, if it measures 8 inches and your toe is done, you measure from this toe back. For me, it's 7 inches. And then I weave my needles in just on this one side, and I leave a row in between, and I cut the yarn in the middle, and I unravel it. So now I have my needles on one half of the tube, and all I have to do is knit another toe. You just knit, 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 and every time you decrease on each side to shape it. And that's how I do my heels. I tend to do 4 or 5 rows first of just solid knitting to give it a little extra space. Some people use more than half the stitches, so their heels would come up more. Some people decrease every other row. I get too confused, so I just do it every row.
I'm already confused. I'm not doing these socks, by the way.
I know. I knew you wouldn't. I knew
Way
that would
too
be-
confusing for me.
That would be way too confusing, I know.
So
I
when
have
she was
done-
little, and I knit, when she was little, I was knitting. But
You weren't knitting.
Yes,
You
I-
never knit when I was little. You did that needlepoint, and you did counted cross stitch. She did a really nice needlepoint on the denim shirts. Remember the denim shirts?
remember I made you wear those denim shirts?
I
that
would wear
go
one
all-
now
Yes, and I do lovely embroidery all over and stuff by hand.
because I
everything.
looked like a 50-year-old when I was 8.
Well, it
Now
was-
I would actually wear it and be happy.
oh, I'll make you one now. Okay, maybe with something about yarn on it.
There you go.
Okay, so when I was I'm 72. When I was in school, we learned how to do things in a class called home economics. Did you ever have home economics? Oh, so you're old too.
I am.
Yeah,
I
you're
am.
going to be 50 in two
I
and a half years.
am 47 and a half.
Yeah, 2.5 years to 50. Let's say it that way. Okay, so
And I have a 4-year-old next week. You couldn't have survived that.
no, so
You're barely surviving grandparenting it.
I know. All right. So when we were in school, we learned things like basic sewing and stuff. I always liked the
Most
sewing.
of the people watching us
But-
are our age.
Whose age? Yours or mine?
No. Well,
Or in between?
In between, yeah.
An average of us?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think some of the cool young hipster people know about these old-fashioned things.
Yeah. We learned knitting in home ec, but we learned knitting
Here, move
basic,
over,
and I was never real good at this. Okay. The only thing that I did make that I was good at, and this is what you don't remember, which is, again, okay, how many of us moms say it when our kids are old? I know it. I told her she can open cupboard doors.
You are a stinker.
Yeah, she can open
So-
the doors. I tried to film her, but she wouldn't do it.
No. Come in the kitchen and go film her right now, but be quiet,
No.
because I'm talking here. Okay, so you don't remember, but I used to make your gloves, or mittens, not
Mittens,
gloves.
mittens.
Yeah, mittens.
Good
But
God.
you don't
gloves.
remember this.
Those people who make gloves are like witches or something.
Yeah. Okay, but we did like this. We had 4 needles. They went 1, 2, 3, 4.
They're called DPNs because they're double-pointed needles. And if
Yeah.
you really have been doing the research that you say you're doing, you would have already seen that because people still do it that way.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, that's what we did. I never knit anything else because I just couldn't get the hang of it. That was the only thing I knew to knit. And when they got to a point where they didn't want me to make them anymore, okay, then I quit. But because of that, I always had yarn. Laura has been fascinated with yarn since she was little. She would find balls of yarn, and I would come in and to the dining room, and she'd have all the tables chair legs, everything, looped and looped and looped around.
I was making spider webs.
Yeah.
I remember I did it one time in my bedroom. I think I cut it apart before she found it though.
Okay, so I kind of gave up on all of that, and she has tried very patiently to teach me crocheting. I can't get the hang of that either.
Not the crochet.
But now that I'm not doing the pieced quilting, because of my sight, it's hard to keep my lines straight. So she's teaching me to knit. Okay, this is what I did.
Can they see it in there?
Okay, look at this.
Here, I'll hold it for you.
That's called garter stitch, Laura.
That is. Listen to you.
I know.
Is that?
Okay,
No, wait, it can't be.
Connor, go in the other room so we can't hear you.
Sorry.
Okay, but this is what I didn't like, Laura. See how you have that thing? I forgot about that long tail. So I used this doohickey.
They can't see it.
Look at that
It's
little
called
doohickey.
a stitch marker.
Turn it sideways.
Yeah, no, it's a stitch marker. They get it.
Yeah, and I just wound it around that
Okay.
because I kept using that as my yarn.
Yeah.
And I wasn't getting it.
So a lot of times, if you get just a few rows up, then I'll take the needle and I'll weave it in.
Oh.
There's a thing, because I'm not good at weaving in my knitted yarn ends. There's a thing about how you knit in the ends. And so I'm going to try to figure that out,
Yeah,
especially for the
I'm
sweaters.
doing the easiest. Okay.
So yeah, if you take your yarn needle and you look up how to weave in knitted ends,
I know how to do that.
okay, it's much easier on
Got it.
garter stitch, but if you do it on stockinette, a lot of times you can see it if you don't
Yeah.
do it right.
I can do that.
No, this is pretty good. It's loose, it's not super tight, it's relatively even. You're switching to a new color, Brave on You, so you're gonna make another square in that color? Or are you
Yeah.
gonna make a small
Yeah,
one and then
but-
do the log cabin thing? Is it log cabin that it's called? So if you did this square and then you
Four
did, no, and you did a little one, like a little rectangle,
then
and then
this-
you did a long rectangle this way,
Log cabin.
and then, yeah, log cabin. You can do that in knitting.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is what I want to show you. That,
And you're using
look at
two
that.
of the same size yarns and two of the same kind of yarns so that when you wash it, you
So
know.
clever,
Yeah,
huh?
so clever.
yeah. Okay, because she gave me all this stuff free. All right. Okay, so I started on the end. See this? I started and I thought, okay, I just want to go to another color now. But how do I do this? My yellow stitch on the very end looks too loose.
It is too loose because what you need to do is you need to cut it here,
Yeah.
tighten it up, and
And
then just weave it
weave it
in.
in.
When you
Okay.
weave it in, you can tighten that one down a little bit. Yeah, it was a little bit loose, but that's from the previous stitch, not this one. See
Yeah.
how I'm tugging on that?
Yeah.
It's from the previous row.
Okay.
So when you weave this in, you can just kind of tighten
Okay.
it down.
So far, she's taught me a few things. This I'm going to tell you, she said, now try all these things and see what you like. Oh, and you use these all the time. Okay. This drove me nuts. I can't stand using these.
Really, I wondered that.
Because I tried this set, I tried a different ones that had plasticky
So you
things.
don't like circular needles. Do you know that I don't know that they had circular needles when you were a kid?
No, we never had that.
No, it's a relatively new
Yeah.
thing.
But look at this. So I practiced on that. See how it rolls up though?
That's
I
because
hate
you're doing
that.
stockinette, Mom. It's a different kind of stitch. It will always roll up if you're doing stockinette.
Oh, but it stays flat if you're doing it on flat needles.
No, it stays flat because you're doing garter stitch.
Oh, that's
It's the
two different
stitch.
stitches, right?
It's the stitch because this one you're doing knit, purl in a flat,
Yeah.
and this is called a garter stitch. Garter stitch will always roll.
Yeah.
So now once you block it, if you were to actually make this into something, then it would be better for a while.
Yeah. See how
Yeah.
I lost that?
You lost that. All you
stitch?
got to do is take that crochet hook and get it back up there and start again. You'll
Oh,
be fine.
really? That's how to find that.
So I
I'm
have
not
a-
using those. I
If you don't
like
like the circulars, I'll take the circulars back, and I have a bunch of straight needles that you can have because I don't like the straight needles.
them. And I like the straight.
You like the
needles.
straight needles, so you can have the straight needles. I'll have the circular needles. My hair is horrendous. I didn't wash it before I got here today because I have a ridiculous migraine.
Which she's also had since she was kids. Okay, you
Like
want,
so bad that I slept in these clothes. Let's just be honest. But hey, look, it's
Oh,
a guinea pig
It's your
from
guinea pig
Scotty's
thing.
Animals.
Cute.
And I bought a couple of these in really big size for after my surgery. Now I realize I won't be able to get them over my head, but eventually.
Okay. Well, maybe somebody else can put it over your head.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. So, all right. So she told me to start watching these things on YouTube.
Chips Ahoy cookies recalled due to unexpected ingredient.
Really? Okay. So I'll tell you the stuff that I've watched. Yes, I do watch hers. Sometimes all the way to the end. Sometimes, I get sidetracked and do something else. Okay. Some of the people that I like on here, I like a guy from Wisconsin. It's called Smells Like Yarn. Cool name. But I think he's from Osceola, Wisconsin. This Smells Like Yarn.
She has notes.
I write notes, yes. And see
No,
what,
you're a list maker. That's what it is. You've always been a list maker.
but now that we don't have proper vision like other people, we use big Sharpie markers to write everything. So we've got a lot of contrast. Oh, there goes the clock. Okay, another one I love. I love this lady. Her name is something.
So
And
should I
it's on-
have a lady at school I know try to get the Chips Ahoy cookies out of my daughter's lunch? If they've been recalled due to mystery ingredient?
Yes. So there's this lady. She has the neatest voice. It's just calming and it's like mesmerizing. And her site is called
Did you hear that? That's their clock.
Nitty Cats Knits. Go to that. It's on YouTube. Nitty Cats Knits. You'd love her voice. And another one, I've been watching this. Okay, this lady, this is a young girl. It's called Sheep and Stitch. Sheep and Stitch. And she does knitting tricks. She'll say, here's 9 new knitting tricks. And it's things like,
What are those ladies? What's her lunchbox? Is it a Frozen lunchbox or is it just a Disney Princess lunchbox?
What does she have? Her lunchbox is like Disney princesses. It has her name on it.
Oh,
You wrote her name on the outside of it.
I can't even see that anymore.
Yeah. This gal who does the knitting tricks, she has the coolest things. Okay, when you buy these things, they come in there like this, tight, tight, tight. Okay, so you'd put boiling water in a little pan and just drop the whole thing in for just a few seconds. Take it out, and you know what? It's not tight and it's not all
Yeah.
cattywampus.
But only on like the plastic cheaper needles because this is called a chowgumam and these have some of the fancier needles they won't get like that.
And I certainly would not pick this up after it's been in boiling water because it's metal and would be hot.
Ask me how many times I've burned my hand this last month cooking.
Yeah. Another thing, I love this. I'm going to try this. Okay, she says, take a plastic bag like this. Give me your plastic bag. Take a plastic bag like this. And then she takes a pencil.
I'm so glad we live 5 blocks away.
Yeah, me too. And,
Me too.
yeah. And then you just poke a hole through here, and then you cut down like this, and you put your yarn inside. You pull the yarn through the hole, close it up, and you know what? You don't have it just hanging blah, 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 all over the table.
And your cat can't get it.
Your cat can't get it anyway because you don't have the cat on the table unless your mother is not here and you left the cat on her table. So,
Oh yeah, there's that.
there is that.
I didn't know the cat rules and somebody wasn't telling them to me.
I know. I'll post them one of these days. So anyway, and go look at Wool and the Gang. That is,
Oh, everybody knows about Wool and the Gang.
well, I didn't. Go look at that and make a blanket. Knit a blanket. I'm going to knit a blanket. I'm going to knit a blanket.
You can knit a blanket.
Sarah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to turn this up a bit.
You're not turning anything up. Go in the other room.
Go in the den. Go in our bedroom. Yeah.
Yes, knit a blanket. I gave you plenty of yarn. Knit a blanket.
Yeah. So we only live 5 blocks away.
Or get some of that yarn from the Christy Glass Knits unboxing of yarn inspirations, Pantone.
That
She did one
bamboo?
of the bamboo
Bamboo yarn?
cotton. No, bamboo something. I don't know. But it was washable.
Karen
the thing
and-
that you would like about that is that the Pantone yarn mixes, they're small little balls, each 20 grams. But since your color is not as good as it used to be in your vision,
Yeah.
you would just know. And then when you get a solid in that Pantone, it's still in that funky braid, but it's all, you just
All
unwind it. It's just a 100 gram skein. It's not like a bunch of little ones, even though it looks the same.
Okay, for somebody who's beginning like me,
Yeah.
see, this is not stuff we learned in school.
Yeah.
Okay, all these, your lingo of this. So
A
what is,
skein.
I know what a skein is, but when you talk about grams, this is 100 gram, and they'll say, oh, look at this, this is 251 grams. What the heck are they talking about, or feet or something? Yards. What are they talking about? Explain that, because I bet you there are other people who are new who don't know.
Okay, so when you buy a yarn, you look on the tag, and at some place it will tell you a number, and that will tell you how thick it is.
Okay.
It will also tell you what it's made of. This one says merino wool.
Is that washable wool?
Well, if you look back here, you'll see some of them say right on the front,
Okay.
superwash. Superwash means washable, usually delicate cycle, possibly dryer. You can tell on this back part here, if you can wash it in the washer dryer, it'll tell you. It will tell you the size of the knitting needles or crochet hooks that you want to use, the recommended size. You can use any size you want, but you'll get a different look in what you,
Oh, that's why they,
yeah.
because
And
I
this will
noticed,
also tell you, see right here, it will tell you 100 grams. Most skeins come in 20 gram minis, 50 grams, or 100 grams. And then they will tell you, and 100 grams is 3.5 ounces. And they will tell you the yards and the meters. Because if you want to make a blanket and you're following an actual pattern, and they say it takes 1,200 yards, you have to know how many of these to buy.
haha,
It's the math part.
that's the math part. Look at this, this is something cool. Now, I just found this in there. She takes the label off, folds it up,
No, not always. So,
but this is a cool thing because for somebody like me, I thought, oh no, maybe you're doing this because of the dye lot, if you ever had to match it up. But then I saw that it also has all this, and I had
Yeah.
no clue what this all meant. Good, thanks for showing.
I've told you this before.
Well, I
She
don't-
doesn't listen the first time.
whatever.
The only reason I kept it was
I've got a lot going on in my head. I got to think about
Yeah.
stuff. I don't
so
know.
when you take it from this and you crank it into a cake, a lot of times you'll
Oh,
put
this
the
is a cake.
This is a cake. See, it looks like a cake
Okay.
or a cupcake or whatever. You put the tag in the middle so you don't forget what it is, and I keep the tags or try to in case I give it to someone
Right,
so
because
they
you
know the
always,
washing deal.
because she always says, here's a sock tube or a hat tube,
Yeah.
and it's blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, okay.
Shh, shh.
Go in the other room.
My God, I am just dying.
Well, it's warm in here, but turn the air conditioning on or open up the windows.
We can't open the windows because it's too noisy. Go turn the air conditioning on. I don't know how to do
I'll
that.
turn the air conditioning on. Or how about a fan?
No, do not turn the fan on over my head.
All right.
So anyway, thank you for the new and the returning visitors. Please subscribe and comment. I don't know what my notes mean. Don't know what they mean. So I have a few projects I will show when Mom gets back because she'll want to see the information. Here is my Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Claret Heather sweater. I followed a tutorial that Very Pink Knits did online. It's a Lion brand free pattern. It is a cropped open cardigan. So there's a button band but no buttons. I am following the pattern for the most part. I did a couple oopses. I'm on my last button band, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Had more ickiness than not lately. I tell you, before this surgery, every bad day is just harder to endure because I have the hope that they'll get better. So if you're new, I'm having 20-year-old breast implants removed. There's a thing called breast implant illness. My doctor's they don't really press it, but I do believe that I have a lot of the symptoms. One of the biggest ones is this, see that? See that? I turn bright red and I get itchy all in my torso. So basically breast implant illness is because you've got a foreign body in your body. Even if you have silicone implants, the package that holds the silicone is, or saline, even if you have saline, the safe ones, the package that holds it, the pouch, is silicone. Silicone is a hormone disruptor. It will disrupt your sleep hormones. It will disrupt your food hormones. It will disrupt your girly hormones, all your stupid hormones. And I get these really, it's not just the menopause. It's not. I mean, some of it I'm sure is. I'm sure that a lot of these are probably age-related also. But if they improve even a third, even if I don't lose them all, but they improve a third, fabulous. Fabulous.
Because,
But
what we used
each day is so much harder to endure.
you only have a week.
Because I want to be done with this.
But what you have right now, when you do get that, we used to just call those.
But Mom,
not-
it's like,
Yeah, all over. We call them not the flashes, we sweat like, we were on a desert island. We call those flushes.
yeah.
And because you
Still
flush
call them
here.
flushes.
She's like red. Oh, look at all my wrinkles. See, Growly Bear soap. Okay, put the foot.
And explain to Prudence that what she has is Growly Bear Soap Company product, but it's not soap. She keeps using the lotion like it's soap.
Oh, funny. But she used, her daughter, Prue. We love the foot cream, and that foot cream, I'm telling you, my neck was way worse than this before, and now I use the foot cream on my neck. Works.
Oh.
It works. So, now what else?
So anyway, what I was gonna say is, I was trying to finish up this row so we could, here, let me borrow these. Just the endy bits.
Oh, this is another thing. Look at these cute little things. We never had all this stuff before.
No, there's
And
a lot
that's
of
just-
stuff you never had.
No. It's like quilting. I could start a whole quilt shop with all the quilting stuff I have.
See, that's a Braille stitch marker. It's hard for two blind women to do a podcast and know if anything we're showing is actually being seen clearly or not.
I'm trying to see, are we actually even squared up on there?
Okay.
But this is so pretty.
But so anyway, some of you will remember that one of the things that happened was something happened, and I let it sit. This I could have been done with so much faster had I just, when I knew I made a mistake, immediately ripped it out and started again. So I ended up doing something wrong, so I have some areas that I have to fix. And obviously blocking is going to do a lot for this. I made it slightly longer than the pattern.
it's like we used to call those shrugs.
Mom, it's a short sleeve cardigan. It's not
And
a shrug.
No, we used to call them
A
shrugs.
short sleeve cardigan is a shrug.
Yeah, that's what we called them.
Okay, nowadays a shrug is, yeah, it's
Something
different.
else.
It's different.
Well, in the olden days, when we came across the prairie. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, now look at what happened.
What?
Let's see.
You dropped a
Oh,
stitch.
shoot. How am I getting this one back?
Well, you just stick it through it like that. And then pull this tight.
Okay.
Did you
And
cut
then
off that yellow?
No, not yet.
Well,
I'll go find the scissors.
I've got a scissors right here,
All right.
Mom. You should always have the scissors in your bag. Here, you can put this
Right.
back on the other end.
And I can use one of these.
You'll still need it.
Okay.
I got more. Okay. Anyway. So that's sweater number 2.
You do beautiful work.
Thank you.
Yeah, she really does.
The thing I find amazing in all of this is that because I was a crocheter, I do continental, and I never thought my mom would do continental knitting. I thought it was going to be a challenge. When she picked it up and started doing it, she was
I
doing
always did.
continental.
Because I did it with my left hand.
That's weird that they would have taught you that back in the day. That was not predominant
But-
at all.
And it's harder for me to do. Now I'm trying to do it
But-
with my right.
But they say it's a lot faster. And you're fast. You're
Am I?
fast. Oh, yeah. For just having picked it up, you are super fast. So now I am doing a bottom-up sweater. It's the sock arms. And it's the worsted weight. And I'm using that Marley Bird Red Heart wool. I don't think the color is coming through real well. This is...
Beautiful green.
Yeah, so
Some
when I was
kind
a
of
kid, I
green.
always wore green. So then I don't really have the actual striped green sock yarn. So I'm thinking about using this as my sleeve.
Oh, pretty. I would put that together.
Yeah. So what I did was I cranked, this was hard to crank on my hat tube, but I did a faux rib on my 90 stitch hat tube. So there's a little bit more give to it because I think it will fit up here pretty decently, don't you think?
Oh, what a clever idea.
See, save a lot of time on those dang,
This is very,
Sleeves.
and you know what? I like
And then
the
I would-
roll
and well, I'm gonna do a because it's
cuff.
because it's ribbed,
Rib.
I'll pull back and I'll rib.
You would do this. If I was doing something, I would just do the roll part because I'd just say, screw it. Just finish it up and let it go. You
Yeah.
have more patience than I do. I have none.
Wait until you figure out how to bind something off. That's one of the reasons that I don't do this as much in the rolled cuffs, is because I found binding it off and it successfully was difficult.
Is
I
it?
probably could now. I mean, I guess I'm almost 2 years into this. I guess I probably could now.
I'm very grateful to have somebody who has such knowledge, and because you do, you have a lot of knowledge, and
Okay, the
the
thing
patience
is,
to teach
whenever
me
I
this.
picked up a hobby,
yeah.
my mom always picked it up after me. But not a lot of them stuck.
No, because I try things, and if I don't like it, it's one and done.
Right. So now, eventually you're gonna print out a pattern, even if you have to look at it under a microscope.
Mm-hmm.
So this is for you.
A gift?
Uh-huh. It's from Knit Picks. So you can stand it up, you can put your piece of paper here, but you've got the magnets.
Oh, this is cute.
So you can, if you put your, and if you don't want to stand it up, you just lay it flat and you put your 8.5 by 11 printout, folded up pattern, but you can keep track of which line you're on, where you're at. I knew that this is something you would use.
Yes, I would.
Yes.
She finds all kinds of stuff for me that I can use.
Yeah, so here you go. It's from Knit
Thank you.
Picks. I really like it. You can, it's really successful for charts. I thought I was gonna chart. I am not a chart person. I don't need to be a chart person.
This is very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thank
So
you
you'll
so
use
much.
that.
Yes, I would use it.
And I am going to do a very thin crocheted shawl. I started it.
Oh, I like these colors. Oh,
I started it
like
with these
colors.
two.
Is this for me?
No.
Oh.
Remember this the Christine one?
Yeah.
But I didn't get the shape I wanted to. I was crocheting a linen stitch. I wanted it to stay more flat there, so I'm going to start over. One thing that you can do in crochet is you can fudge if you make a mistake, and usually it's hard to tell. I find in knitting you can't as much, especially with a lot of things in stockinette. So I'm getting to this point where I'm willing to rip back and start over. And what I'm finding is it's faster if I know it's wrong to just rip it back and start over than to just let it sit and try to figure it out.
Okay.
But now I found some other yarns, and I'm thinking if I've got all these little bits, maybe all together,
Love it.
who knows?
Love it.
Because I don't know as I'm recovering from this chest surgery if knitting or crochet, like which is going to feel better. Because apparently you're not supposed to lift your arms up for the first couple of weeks. But they did say that a lot of the people are able to do a lot of things right away. Like after your first week to 10 days, a lot of people are back to driving cars and whatever. So who knows? I don't know how it's gonna go,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to be prepared. I've got some books on tape.
And again, this is a nice thing about living close. As a mother and daughter, you know, we do the 95-5. You know what that's called?
No.
No. It's as mothers and daughters, 95% of the time you get along, 5% you don't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sure.
It's true. But most of the time we do. And it's nice that we live so close because she does help me out in different things. And I help her out with 2 beautiful grandchildren.
She's a very good grandma. My
Mhm.
stepdad is a very good grandpa. My other dad's a good grandpa. They are lucky kids. And so then if you come back on in a few weeks, you'll have to show the progress of your project.
Yes.
Yes.
I was hoping that I would be invited back. Next time, can we have snacks?
Maybe we're at your house. You could have provided the snacks.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Next time, I'll make something you like snickerdoodles or something.
Yeah. I like the gluten-free ones,
Gluten-free?
the Udis.
Oh, all right.
Um,
The only reason
I have some of those in my freezer. I also have a bunch of frozen avocado chunks and fruit
What?
chunks.
You can freeze avocado?
Yeah, you can buy it already. Okay, so
You can buy
Scotty's Animals.
guacamole. Yeah.
Love him, love him. I've been trying to figure out how to best do like detoxifying when I get, you know, a lot of people call these toxic bags out of my body, whatever. Okay. This is like my 5th surgery since I had my daughter. So I know that getting through the surgery isn't just necessarily about the surgery, it's also that anesthesia is tough on my system. And I mean, I'm going into this thing worn down. So I'm trying to right now, since last week, I've been upping my water intake. I've been upping my fruits and vegetables for a while. But because of my migraines, there's a lot of fruits I can't do, like anything citrus. So I got this magic bullet. I've wanted one for years. But Scotty was talking about his the other day, and he uses this vanilla vegetable protein powder. And I thought, I'm just going to bite the bullet. Pun intended.
On the magic bullet.
And do it. And I got it. I love the thing. Because you can make these small, just individual servings. Because nobody else in my family is going to eat this stuff.
No.
So I buy frozen raspberries, frozen mango, frozen avocado, already chopped up. So I don't even have to do that part. All I do is get up, toss them in the cup, put in a scoop of the powder, and because we have guinea pigs, we always have celery, carrot, lettuce, cilantro, whatever. So like this morning, it was a little bit of mango, celery, avocado, a little bit of kale, cilantro, a scoop of the powder, 4 to 6 ounces of water, and then I just blended the thing up, and
Is that what
it
that,
was like eating grass.
is that what that green thing was that you showed?
Yeah. But I like that. That to me makes me feel healthy and give me a little kick.
All the vitamins would.
And I think it's fabulous. So I think that that's going to help in the recovery.
Huh.
I had some other point, but I can't remember it because my brain fog is ridiculous. Ridiculous. And this is the reason there's no blood test to take to know that you have this. But also a lot of women are getting told by doctors that it's something else. I was told by the time I was 31 years old that all of my symptoms were that I was going through menopause. It was just, I was an early menopauser.
Yeah. Yeah, they blame everything on that.
Then after I had started having kids at 36, everything was because I had kids. That's why you're tired. No, you don't understand. I am so tired that I literally wear stuff that you wouldn't necessarily think's pajamas and go out in public like that. Because,
With me?
Mom, I slept in this last night, and this is how I took my kid to the school, but I don't look that bad in that
No,
cute
you
little
don't.
jacket.
Cute
See?
little camo pants.
Yeah, they're called leggings.
Leggings, yeah.
It's crazy that I never would have worn those in high school, but pushing 50, I will.
You've become way more comfortable with yourself. That happens as we
Age.
age.
I
Become
hope that
women
continues.
and become women of a certain age.
Yes, I hope that
Oh, yeah.
continues. Because I was watching something the other day and they had body types on there, and I'm like, oh yeah, there I am, hourglass. And then I realized that's not my body type. Because I'm not hourglass. I don't have natural boobs. I'm pear-shaped.
Yeah. You were always like my side of the family. Grandma Nelson's side of the family had big gazangas, and my side of the family, we were all pretty flat-chested.
Yeah. So the irony is I have a friend getting implants today. I wish her well, and I hope it works for her. And
Yeah.
I don't criticize anybody who chooses to do it. I think one of the key things is, see, that makes me nervous. Maybe that's why I don't like the sticks. Every time you pull this one out,
Yeah.
I think, oh my God, I'm losing stitches.
Yeah. And I still can feel it so well.
Yeah,
with
you're
my-
fine.
Yeah.
So anyway, they say that the manufacturers of the implants all give them a shelf life. I remember vaguely being told, and I went back and looked through my notes, that my doctor actually had something printed out, and it said that this is a lifelong surgery. However, your manufacturer recommends between 8 and 12 years that you get them redone. I looked in the paperwork from the manufacturer, and they said 6 to 8 years, because at the 8-year mark, the outside packaging that's holding the silicone into shape starts to deteriorate, and you'll get little bits of that silicone that can go anywhere. However, you get this pocket of scar tissue that forms around it. So if you're really lucky, that helps to hold in a lot of things if you have a really dense pocket. But a lot of women don't have a thick, dense pocket. Theirs is very thin. So some of those bits are going to end up wherever. One of my friends that we ended up talking to about this, she's got 20-year-old implants, and she's had multiple surgeries where they've removed pea-shaped cysts, tumors, but they're like, it's not cyst material, it's not tumor material, but it's it's obviously something your body has created. It's like scar tissue over a foreign body, but they could never figure out what it was.
Well,
They could never figure out what it was.
we all as women, we do what we want to do, whether it's to get breast implants when we're younger.
And I think it's fine that she's doing it. I just think that they need to really, really educate women that some women have a reaction almost immediately, and others, you know, it's after that point, that 6, 8, 10, 12, whatever, where they start to really see the symptoms. I look back, and I can remember one period of ridiculous migraines, probably 2 years after I got them. But then when I look back, my worst episodes were after I'd been pregnant, when your boobs press against, your natural boobs increase and decrease. I think that has had an impact, and they never tell you that. You know, everything's going to be fine.
Having been a nurse, I think that the best thing we can do is, I know this is all getting tangled up, is just try to do be our own advocate, try to do our own homework, research on anything. Even if it's hair color, guys, they don't tell us the things that hair color can do to us. And those of us who started doing hair color when we were
I think it's ridiculous that people
30?
let their
I was
kids
30.
hair color nowadays. You've got,
Little kids get hair color?
yes, Mom, like my 11-year-old niece colors her hair, and her mom thinks that's just fine, and that's their
Yeah.
business. It's not mine.
No.
But good
No.
gravy, Batman. Okay, see what I did? I took a moment, and now
And
shove it back in there because you're pulling from the outside.
Yeah.
Always pull from the outside on your cake. A lot of people say pull from the inside, but the whole cake will eventually lose its structure and kind of become a ridiculous mess.
So this is called a cake. When you
Yes.
buy it in the store, it's called a skein.
A skein or a ball or a
Yeah.
hank, depending on how it's
Oh, a
twisted.
hank.
Yeah.
Oh, a hank is when they,
Yeah.
okay. And look at this, guys. Now, isn't that going to be cute?
See, she's fast.
Isn't this cute? But on this side, see, it has that. I
It
kind
will
of like
always
that too,
have.
because that's where I went
Turn.
in. Yeah.
See, now you have a seam. So you're always going to want to start your new color on the same side
Yes.
so that your seams are always on the same side. There is a way, if you look it up, that you can add a color without getting this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Too much work. Too much work.
Eventually you won't feel that way. All newbies feel like everything is too much work, but eventually you'll get it and you'll be ready.
Well, I was quilting for how many years? I did my version of quilting, which was just squares together when my kids were young. And now I've learned through the years how to do pieced quilting. And this is called flying geese in the back. That's a small flying geese. Get your head out of the way, Laura. No, the other way. I have to turn that a little bit. See, that's another flying geese. That's the first flying geese piece that I ever made when we lived in South Dakota. Did you know that?
Yes, my mother and grandmother and my grandpa Wayne, they lived in South Dakota.
Yes,
So
we did.
yes, my mom did see Mount Rushmore.
Yes, you did see Mount Rushmore.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Lucky.
Do you know that your dad lived in Custer, South Dakota by Mount Rushmore?
Yeah. Yeah. I knew he lived in Wyoming, yeah.
Yep, that's a different state. He lived in Wyoming, he lived in South Dakota, he lived in Montana, he lived in Wisconsin, he lived in Minnesota.
Yes, he's lived in many states and I've been to many states.
Right. All right, I'm getting hungry.
Okay, I think we're wrapping this up for this week.
Oh yeah. Oh, TheYarnCloset. Fun fact, the last time I traveled on a plane was 3 years ago.
Good.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
We love you. We're excited to be here. Comment on what you think of Grandma Kitty. And next week,
Nicely, because I'll be watching this.
I'm posting a pre-recorded episode that Connor was a part of. So that's always fun. And somebody will be back in 2 weeks and be doing the May name prize drawing. And that's going to be ridiculous since now we have so many more people.
Can be fun.
It'll be very, very fun. Thank you. Subscribe, comment.
Actually sent things out also to about 5 or 6 different countries.
Yes.
Now, that's really fun.
Malaysia, Ireland, England, Australia, Norway, Canada. Did we do Canada?
I think we did Canada.
United States. So yeah, we've got a lot of people. And I just love the community. I've really embraced the fact that this is life nowadays, and because neither one of us drive a car, she has a husband that drives her around a lot. She's lucky.
We call him Uber Ed.
Uber Ed. I don't get out quite as much, and that's fine. You know, there's seasons in your life. But I'm embracing this online thing, and I appreciate the friendships I have made. Kirsten, people who've reached out and said, hey, I'm blind like you, and isn't it annoying because people are like, well, I can't be that blind. You know what? Do you say that to that guy with the hearing aids? He's deaf, but he's not that deaf. You would never say that.
Right.
So there you go, people.
Yeah. Blind. There's all kinds of blind, and just because one person can do something and the other person can't, they might both be legally blind.
Yes.
Because we have different levels of vision, and, you know, I'm losing a lot of color.
So my husband
But you
mentioned
have
this
better
girl at
color.
church who's in a wheelchair from something. And he saw her one day when she wasn't in her wheelchair, and this person saw her and just grabbed her and was like, oh my God, God is so good, what a blessing, blah, blah. And the girl's like, I've always been in and out. Good days and bad days. And a lot of disabilities, a lot of illnesses, whatever you want to call it, have those good days and bad days. You can usually tell mine because I've washed my hair or brushed it.
The mother is not commenting.
No, she's not coming because she's never liked my hair. My bangs always bug her. She doesn't like it.
I do. I've always liked your hair long. I think if I could wear my hair long, look at this. You know how long it takes to do this? I have this horribly curly hair. In order to get it managed like this.
But you gotta just embrace what you got.
Right. But I look icky in it. Where you look nice in long hair. You have a pretty color of hair, and it looks nice on you.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't look good on me. Mm-hmm. I could not wear long hair. Well, partly because we're different heights also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's 4 or 5 inches difference between us.
Mm-hmm. And we're not talking about how many pounds between us.
Well, my mom was much smaller than me when she was my age. Much smaller. But she hadn't just had a baby either.
Right.
Yeah, I was having a baby and you were already a grandma at that age.
You were having a baby at 43. I had 2 grandchildren at 43.
My God.
I had 2 grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
22 months apart.
So everybody pray that this surgery, it goes well and I recover quickly and that I am more of a mom to those kids and have more energy for everything.
And remember that they'll be staying with us for a couple of nights, and they get up at...
No, Connor will now get up at like 6:30 or 7. It's fabulous.
And what time does Prue get up?
But he stays up until like 8:45, 9 o'clock.
Oh,
Prue goes to bed about 8 o'clock and she's up by 5, although there are plenty of days that she's up at 4. But there are days where she'll fall asleep at 6:30 and not get up until 5. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. You were always an early bird.
Oh, do we want to tell them where Uber Ed is today? Uber Ed is taking my dad to a doctor appointment and going to lunch with him. Uber Ed, her fourth husband, is
Do we need to
taking
go into this? Let's alphabetize.
is taking my
One of them
biological
died.
dad. They're going out to lunch together. Can you even imagine? Can you even imagine?
Yes. I was married to Laura's dad for 29 years and 7 months, and we still live, now we live 5 minutes apart, and we're still good friends.
They used
But-
to live 20 minutes apart.
They're not
Yes.
good friends. They get
Well-
along. It's an amicable divorce.
Yes, well, that's considered
Would you
good
call me
friends.
and Walt good friends?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yes, Walt was always a good friend of mine. I think we were
Yes.
much better friends. You know, they always used to say, "Oh, find someone who can be your friend and marry them. That's just the answer." No, not always, because sometimes they just stay friends, and it never gets us that extra step. But we got a great kid out of the deal, and
Me.
yes. And as my daughter was saying this morning, as we were driving one of the scooters, the other one was having a flat tire, and she's like, "So who's gonna fix it?" And I'm like, "Well, your dad, unless your dad doesn't want to, and then Walt's gonna fix it."
Unless he doesn't want to, I'm gonna fix it.
No, you're not gonna fix it. Then we take it in. But yes, my ex-husband is very nice, and we'll do some of those projects with our middle kid, because my current husband has a 24-year-old that, you know, then I came with mine, who's now 11, and then the daughter is 4. So there you go.
And yes, my husband of, we've been together 13 years, married 11. Yeah, and he takes my ex-husband, who's Laura's dad, he drives him to his doctor appointments, and then they go out to lunch together.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is, and you better learn to be kind in this world and get along, because this is not a dress rehearsal.
So do you want to say it?
What? Oh,
Go ahead.
Okay. She wants to see. Do I actually watch her podcast?
Funny
all the-
thing is, I
all the
used to
way?
always watch my podcasts after I posted them, just to see if I was stupid or something. And it was very uncomfortable in the beginning to like watch myself, and then eventually it was like, oh, I'm not so bad, and now
But-
I just don't have the time.
Okay, so she's testing me right now to see, have I ever actually watched one all the way to the end? At the end, you always say, look with your heart first and not your eyes.
Yeah.
I love her.
And that's on the TheYarnCloset.com. We also have an active blog section. My mom's writing an article for it. Anyone else
On
can
genealogy.
Woohoo! Anyone else can submit anything they want, and I'll post it for you. Let's be a community. Look with your heart first